let me take a moment and talk about Riverside.fm. It allows you to record studio quality audio and up to 4K video. When you need to record audio and video, Riverside.fm can do it. So if you're looking for a hero platform for all your recording needs, from podcasts to webinars to any video content, Riverside.fm. I've got a promo code for you where you'll receive a 30% discount on the first 3 months of your subscription. I'll give it to you twice. The promo code is SHIPIT. All one word, SHIPIT, and you'll pick up a 30% discount on your first 3 months of your subscription. Riverside.fm.
In this Best of the Pigskin Dispatch episode for the football history headlines of January 4th, we discuss Don Shula and Johnny Lujack, as well as many more BCS championship games played and some great Hall of Fame legendary stories and more birthdays to boot coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with PigskinDispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pigpen, your portal to positive football history. And we have come around the corner. We're through the calendar year of 2021. We are in 2022, and just some great football events are still happening here. The BCS championship game is another week away, and we are in the thick of the Week 18 is coming up here for the NFL season, and we're going to be starting the playoffs the week after that. So what an exciting time in football it truly is. Some championship play being played. And we can look back at our history for January 4th and see a lot of championship play being there too. So we'll take you there to this Best of the Pigskin Dispatch podcast. And we'll go all the way back to 1883 on January 4th, and the Ontario Rugby Football Union formed. You might ask, hey, isn't this a place for football history? Where are we talking about the Ontario Rugby Football Union? Well, my friends, yes, it is a football history, and this rugby club from Ontario is the forerunner of the Canadian Football League. Yes, the CFL. January 4th, 1942, the Polo Grounds in New York City. At the 4th NFL All-Star Game in a series where the NFL champs would play against the best players of the rest of the league, the Bears faced a group led by Slingin' Sammy Baugh and Frank Filchock of Washington and Green Bay's Dodd Hudson. This game occurred less than a month after the attack on Pearl Harbor and was a distraction for the fans who were focused on the war effort. The Chicago Bears showed why they were so good as they defeated the NFL All-Stars 35-24 in a game filled with fights on the field and the fights of snowballs in the stands by the fans. Now let's time warp into the Super Bowl era. January 4th, 1970, Alameda County Coliseum in Oakland, California. The Kansas City Chiefs met their rivals, the Oakland Raiders, in the 1969 AFL Championship game. The Chiefs' defense came to play and made it tough sledding for the Raiders all game as they forced 4 interceptions of Oakland passes. KC earned the right to advance into the big game with a 17-7 victory over the home team. On the other side of the league, January 4th, 1970, Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. Meanwhile, the NFL Championship game seemed to see who would win to face the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It was the Minnesota Vikings who outlasted the Cleveland Browns 27-7 in that game. January 4th, 1976, at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The AFC Championship game of the 1970s had 2 pretty common teams playing in it. Can you believe that there was only one game for the Lamar Hunt Trophy in the decade of the 1970s where neither the Steelers nor the Raiders were a participant? Well, in the conference title game of the 1975 season, it was one of the 3 times in the decade that the Steelers and the Raiders squared off against each other. This time around, it was the Steelers who outlasted the Raiders 16-10. The ProFootballReference.com website gives us the data that Franco Harris and John Stallworth scored to help the Steel City advance into the Super Bowl. January 4th, 1986, Anaheim, California. The Los Angeles Rams running back Eric Dickerson scored twice as he pounded a turf for an NFL postseason record of 248 yards in a 20-0 Rams win over the Dallas Cowboys in NFC divisional playoffs. January 4th, 1999, the first BCS National Championship game of the Bowl Championship Series era was played at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona in the 28th Fiesta Bowl as number 1 Tennessee defeated number 2 Florida State 23-16 in the game. January 4th, 2000, a day after accepting the head coaching position with the New York Jets franchise, Bill Belichick resigns the Jets position and later accepts the New England Patriots head job. That same day, January 4th, 2000, Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. The second BCS National Championship game was held under the guise of the All-State Sugar Bowl. It matched up two pretty good offensive teams against each other. Number 1 Florida State would face number 2 Virginia Tech squad. The Seminoles had their great wide receiver, Peter Warrick and company, while the Hokies placed an interesting redshirt freshman under center named Michael Vick, per the allstatesugarbowl.org site. There was plenty of offensive fireworks as advertised. Warrick helped the Seminoles jump out early to a 28-7 lead in the first half, but Vick spearheaded the Hokies to a great comeback and actually put Virginia Tech ahead 29-28 at the end of the third quarter. Then Warrick and Florida State gave the final push that handed the game to Florida State as FSU outlasted VT 46-29 in an exciting game. Now let's take a quick break from our headlines and let me remind you can learn more about gridiron history on our website, pigskindispatch.com. And you can contact me, Darren Hayes, at pigskindispatch@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Speaking of hearing from someone who's here is one of my podcasting partners from the sportshistorynetwork.com that has a message just for you.
This is Jeremy McFarland from the Footballist Family Podcast. And I'm going to encourage you, if you get a chance, to come over to the Footballist Family Podcast, where we look at what makes football special and family to each person. We talk about each team and we talk about the stories behind why fans love those teams. I encourage you to come and join us in our discussion. Thank you.
All right, now that we got the memory neurons in your brain excited, let's go to January 4th, 2004 at the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. The 6th BCS National Championship game once again took place at the Sugar Bowl as the top 2 teams in the rankings met once again. The second-ranked LSU Tigers were the opponents for the number 1 Oklahoma Sooners per the allstatesugarbowl.org website. Even the coaches in this game were interesting, as the schemes of OU's Bob Stoops would face the strategies of Nick Saban of LSU. The Sooners went into the game as a 6-point favorite. Yes, Oklahoma's offense, which was tops in the land, averaged an astounding 45.2 points during the regular season coming into the game, and the Sooners were the nation's 3rd best overall defensive team, giving up an average of a mere 255.7 yards per game. The Tigers fielded 2 All-American selections in the contest, but Oklahoma looked like an all-star team when they rolled out 7 young men that received All-America honors, including Heisman winner Jason White. On paper, no wonder the Sooners were favored, but there was a reason they still play the games. LSU came and played as a complete cohesive unit in the ultimate team sport. The Tigers' defense stifled White and the Sooners' offense most of the evening, limiting them to 152 yards and 2 TDs all evening long. Saban's offense responded when it needed to most, including right after the Sooners scored when they had a great field position after a blocked punt. It was LSU in a 21-14 upset of Oklahoma in the 70th Sugar Bowl for the national title. And speaking about Oklahoma, the very next year, January 4th, 2005, at Plural Player Stadium in Miami Gardens in Florida, the Sooners would be back as a participant in the 7th BCS National Championship in the Orange Bowl this year. This time, Bob Stoops and company would enter as a second-ranked team in the country and would play against the Pete Carroll coach number 1 Southern Cal team. The Orange Bowl site promotes the game as the Battle of Award Winners, as 2004 Heisman Trophy winner Matt Leinart faced off against the 2003 Heisman winner Jason White. This posting goes on to say that the Orange Bowl hosted its 18th national championship, and 6 which have included Oklahoma in the game. The contest wasn't even close, as the Trojans jumped out to a 28-8 lead at the half and never looked back as they triumphed 55-19 to win the BCS title. Leinart threw 5 touchdown passes in the game. But that's not the end of the story. A few years after the game was played, in June of 2010, the BCS, according to the ConquestChronicles.com website, under the guidance of NCAA findings of USC's lack of institutional control, stripped the title from the Trojans. The investigation of football's governing board found that running back Reggie Bush was ineligible for the violation of NCAA rules, which in essence disqualified Southern Cal in games that Bush played in. Bush also had to vacate his 2005 Heisman Trophy. The BCS said in a statement the 2004 national title will remain vacant. One team besides the Sooners that were upset about this matter was the Auburn Tigers, who with a perfect 13-0 season in the rugged SEC conference were not chosen to play in the big game for the title. January 4th was a popular day for the national title game because on January 4th, 2006, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, there may have been another national title strip too because of the NCAA findings of the Trojans that we just talked about a few minutes ago. But USC fell in the 8th BCS National Championship to Vince Young and the number 2 Texas team, who defeated number 1 Southern Cal 41-38 at the 92nd Rose Bowl. Texas won the national championship, but boy was it a classic battle. In fact, some folks, such as SBNation.com, call it the greatest national championship game ever, and they might be right. This game had all the drama, the star power, and the great coaching and made it even an instant classic. Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and the aforementioned Vince Young highlighted a couple of the legendary college rosters for the contest. The game was also significant as it was the last one called by broadcaster Keith Jackson, who is probably the greatest college football play-by-play man of all time. Young became a collegiate legend in the big stage as he went 30 of 40 passing for 267 yards, plus 19 runs of 200 yards and 3 scores. He really took the Longhorns and put them on his shoulders to propel them back into the game after a 38-26 deficit with 6:42 to play. Then one of the greatest plays occurred. With a mere 26 seconds left on the clock and down by 5, Texas faced with a 4th and 5 from the USC 8-yard line, Young took the shotgun snap and dropped back to pass. All of a sudden, he saw daylight and dashed around the right end to trot into the end zone for the go-ahead winning score. The Texas Longhorns of Coach Mack Brown would become the national champions. We're going to stay in the college realm, but this one wasn't for a national title, but is very significant. January 4th, 2010, at the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, Boise State was facing Texas Christian University in the first BCS bowl game played between 2 non-BCS teams, as well as it was the first BCS bowl game when both teams were undefeated heading into the game. The Broncos squad was led by quarterback Cullen Moore and running back Doug Martin, while the Horned Frogs had Andy Dalton under center per ESPN.com. Boise State won the game when Doug Martin got a 2-yard touchdown with 7:21 left in the fourth quarter to make it a 17-10 victory. With all this exciting action on the field, it's time to have a party. And why not make it a birthday party for this January 4th for our Hall of Famers that have birthdays on this day? And we'll start off in the year 1925 in Connellsville, Pennsylvania. Notre Dame's legendary quarterback Johnny Lujack was born. The National Football Foundation has a great bio on Johnny L. John Lujack was the Heisman Trophy winner's Angelo Bertelli's replacement at quarterback when the signal caller was called off to fight in the U.S. military during World War II. Johnny led the Notre Dame to important victories over Army 26-0 and Iowa Pre-Flight 14-13 to secure the 1943 national championship for the Irish. After serving in the war effort overseas himself, Lujack returned under center for the Irish in 1946 and 1947. Notre Dame went 17-0-1 in that period and won 2 national championships. Lujack was a unanimous All-American both seasons, and he won the Heisman himself in 1947. Johnny was an excellent defender as well, as he demonstrated in 1946 when he tackled Doc Blanchard, cutting off a sure Army touchdown in a game that ended 0-0. The National Football Foundation voters selected Johnny Lujack for induction into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1960. Johnny's gridiron glory did not stop after college, though. Lujack played for the Chicago Bears and George Halas from 1948 to 1951. The pinnacle of his pro career came in 1948 against the Chicago Cardinals as he tossed 6 touchdown passes for the Bears. And just like we alluded to earlier, we go to Grand River, Ohio in 1930 on January 4th, and the winningest coach in NFL history, Don Shula, was born. According to his bio on the ProFootballHof.com website, Shula served 33 seasons as a head coach for NFL teams. His coaching career started off in Baltimore with the Colts, where he led the Blue Horseshoe to 7 straight winning seasons, including a trip to Super Bowl III against the Joe Namath-led New York Jets. Before the 1970 season, the great coach moved to take over the reins of the Miami Dolphins. There, he continued to win and even guided the team to consecutive Super Bowl victories in Super Bowl VII and Super Bowl VIII editions of the game. All in all, he coached 6 teams in the game to try to win the Lombardi Trophy in his 33 years of coaching. The pinnacle of his career was the 1972 Dolphins, who went a perfect 17-0 and were crowned as champs. And so far, they're the only team since the merger to accomplish this feat. At the 1990 enshrinement ceremonies in Canton, Don Shula was welcomed into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We hope you enjoyed these football history headlines and legendary Hall of Fame birthdays. And don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow for the January 5th edition of both these great series on the PigskinDispatch.com podcast. But you can also get some great action on SportsHistoryNetwork.com. As a matter of fact, there's a great book giveaway. It's Amos Alonzo's Stag, College Football's Man in Motion by Jennifer Taylor Hall. A signed copy of that will be given to a winner on the SportsHistoryNetwork.com. So make sure you go there right away and sign up for this great book giveaway, and check out some of those other great podcasts we have besides Pigskin Dispatch. There's the Football History Dude with Arnie Chapman and a bunch of other great football oriented, and actually there's many other podcasts that are just based on other sports in history, and some great personalities and guests on all these shows too. So make sure you check those out and try to win that great book. That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, PigskinDispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. PigskinDispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so
retro
it was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
flowers.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.
Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? You should check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Pictorum Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. Instead of a boring old tie, get him a historic baseball photo taken by Henry High Sandom at the historic Polo Grounds Stadium in New York City during the 1894 Temple Cup. Or, if he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL poster. These are so good looking that you'll be amazed how they turn out. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order.